I'm Rangel.
I'm Trenton Thornton.
And this is Hoofbeat News. Today is Tuesday, February 20th, and we are back with a new episode of Hoofbeat for you.
The knowledgeable team has been doing great this year and they qualified for state. Faye has the story.
Today I talked to some knowledgeable members, and here's what they had to say.
Andrea Rios. So for knowledgeable, we technically do these trivia questions in which we do like practices every Tuesday and Friday. No, Wednesday and Friday. And it's usually from these big packets that we receive from the organization of Knowledgeable, which I believe is in like Quell Central. So basically practice with those things. Like right now we are currently practicing with our previous competition packet to get ready for state. We practice during lunch, Wednesday and Friday. We'll pretty much just go to Mr. Whitney, say like, hey, I'm interested, and basically if he wants, he'll just let them in and they can just be a part of whatever questions we're currently doing right now.
Here is another knowledgeable member that got the final question correct to qualify for state.
Christian Seaman. We didn't win first place overall, but at regionals it's for like the region is sort of split up into smaller regions in order to see who gets to go to state and who doesn't based off of regional scores. And for ours, which was 5A, which was, I'm pretty sure, just us and Weld Central, we did win by 1 point. Basically, like a Brain Bowl, it's kind of like that except different because instead of you being able to collaborate with your team, you just have to be like, how confident are you? Okay, then you go. And it's like that. Basically just trivia stuff. Yeah. Every meet is at a different one of the schools that's in it. That would be Mr. Whitney, one of the intro to business teachers.
If you are interested in joining Knowledgeable, you can go talk to Mr. Whitney in room 146 or 147.
Thanks for that, Faye. Staff. Cody did a deeper look into Mr. Blake.
Mr. Blake, though now a senior English teacher, had a history not known to many others. Beneath the cover of a good-spirited man, you would not have thought that he himself had found the military. Join me in this episode to find the history of military journalist Ian Blake.
My name is Mr. Ian Blake. I'm the United States Army Reserve. I was a 46 Quebec, which was a public affairs specialist specializing as a writer. To put it bluntly, I was a print journalist, photojournalist, and I worked with the civilian media.
Ian Blake had grew up in a military family where 2 generations before him held a military position. To continue on the legacy, he became the third Blake in his family to enlist. He always had a passion for writing and wanted to build a career upon that, but since he wouldn't be able to obtain the funds for college, he looked to a military recruiter who suggested to join, which would pay off the college. And he did exactly that, and it was no surprise that he wanted to have a writing-based military job. But there's more to that than meets the eye.
Well, I was a strong writer. English was always my favorite subject in high school, and I thought, well, by being a journalist, I could at least be able to experience a lot more of the world and see a lot more of what was happening in the Army at that time. For the most of my career, I did do journalism, but we were still soldiers first, like the crest for public affairs. The crest for public affairs that we had on our uniforms was a quill for print media, a lightning bolt for electronic media, but there was a sword in front of it. Meaning, even though we were journalists, we were still soldiers first, so I still had to know how to use and fire and maintain my M4. I still had to know how to do all those common soldier tasks, but a lot of my job was still working with the media, producing magazines for publication that told the Army story. Well, for one of the big things, the fact is they don't seem to realize that we are still soldiers too, so while we're still reporting, we still have to be armed. So having to carry a full rucksack, including a full camera kit with 2 to 3 lenses, backup batteries, in addition to all the other stuff we'd have to be carrying, it's a lot, not as much as my colleagues in the broadcast team did. They had to carry a full video camera with them. Also, they thought that just because we were journalists didn't mean that we weren't in the field. When I was in Kosovo, we spent a lot of time out in the field with other troops. My specialty was working with the cavalry. So I was out helping them by recording mounted patrols they had, them getting out to the city. So yeah, my job was working with a computer, but I still was out in the field. Well, if you're planning on going into the military in terms of journalism, the Army has kind of combined recently, but if you have a gift for telling stories or taking pictures, there are more ways of serving your country than just going out and doing combat. At the very least, it's a good way of helping to pay for college. Certainly helped with mine. And the thing is, as a journalist, you get to see so much. I got to be hanging out of the side of a helicopter and take pictures. I got to be right next to the door of a plane as the U.S. Army's parachuting team, the Golden Knights, jumped out. I got to experience a lot of things as a journalist. So if you have a knack for telling stories and you're not afraid of getting dirty, journalism might be a good field for you if you decide to go into the military. That, and a drill sergeant always liked to joke whenever we did something not correct. She would say we were the best and brightest the U.S. Army had to offer, so quit acting stupid.
That's all for this week's episode.
From all of us at Hoofbeat News, have a great week, FMHS.